I'm a big deal. You're my friend, I'm a big deal.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So before we get started, I just want to apologise for having not uploaded since my introduction video. The only reason for that is just the fact that I haven't been very well. I'm still not 100%, but I just thought, you know what, the gap between my introduction video and now has already been 2 weeks, and I don't want to leave it any longer. So I just thought, you know what, let me just get this over and done with. Let's record this and get it uploaded, because the whole idea was for my videos to be uploaded every single week, and it's already been 2 weeks, so I didn't want to leave it any longer. The topic of today's discussion is going to be history of slavery and a little bit about the Libyan slave trade. The reason why I've chosen this is just because Libyan slave trade is something that's current in the news, so pretty much everyone's heard about it. I just thought, you know what, I'd throw in a few facts about the history of the slave trade, and I would just cover a little bit about the Libyan slave trade and maybe how you can help out a bit. So in the 1400s, slavery existed, just it wasn't as big of a thing as it soon became. The actual transatlantic slave trade started in the 15th century. So that wasn't very much of a gap in between the 1400s and the 15th century. Really wasn't that long before it actually became like a big thing and kind of a trend, if that makes sense. Without it sounding horrible, it kind of became a trend. Slaves often lived on large farms or small plantations. Farms and plantations are pretty similar things, just plantations had things such as cotton farms on them. Slaves were not allowed to learn how to read or how to write. Slaves were punished if they'd done something that their owners didn't like them doing, and often rewarded with so-called favours if their owners saw them do something that they liked. Slave women were sexually assaulted, so their owners often raped them. As disgusting as it is, it happened. If you are aware of what a hierarchy is, there was a hierarchy of slaves. So at the top, if you were lucky enough to be a house slave, you'd be at the top of that hierarchy. If you were considered unfortunate enough to be lowly hands in the field, which meant working on plantations, you'd be at the bottom of the hierarchy. There were, of course, groups in between house slaves and field slaves. These groups were all kept separate in the fear that they would come together and form something against their master. The reason why this was a fear for slave owners was because at one point during the slave trade, there was a group of 75 black people led by someone called Nat Turner, who over the course of 2 days killed 60 white people. And this put fear in slave owners, so this was one of the reasons why slaves were kept separate. Between 1830 and 1860, there was a movement to abolish the slave trade. It is thought that between 40,000 and 100,000 slaves reached freedom in America through a movement known as Underground Railroad. This movement was run by free blacks, which meant black people who had not been brought into slavery, and white people who did not believe that slavery should exist, either for religious reasons or because they thought that there was no advantage out of it or that it made little economic sense. From today's knowledge, it is somewhat so clear to see that slavery never really ended. However, slavery was abolished in Britain in 1833, it was abolished in Jamaica in 1834, and it was abolished years later in the US in 1865. Now on to the Libyan slave trade. In Libya, they don't have much of what people call a rule of law. In the past 3 years, it is thought that 150,000 refugees have made a flee to Europe crossing Libya. In the past 4 years, it is thought that 3,000 people have drowned in the Mediterranean Sea trying to make this flee in hope for a better life. It is thought that between 400,000 and 1 million migrants are trapped in Libya. These migrants are being sold, raped and murdered by smugglers and other criminals that live in Libya. Because of the lack of rule of law in Libya, these migrants have to go through something that we thought had been abolished years and years ago. When migrants overflow or don't have enough money to pay their smugglers anymore, some are then sold into slavery. CNN released a video taken in Libya of men being sold at a nighttime market for $400. As one of which may not be heard, but as many, standing together, our voice will be heard. I personally have signed a petition, and I will leave the link to the petition that I signed in the description box below. Every little helps, every little say, every little word, every little care in the world, it matters and it will help make a difference. There's a march being held in London, I believe, on Saturday the 9th of December. I will insert the image of that after this video clip. There are also websites such as Free the Slave that you can donate to in order to help these migrants be freed from Libya. It's disgusting to think that we are in the 21st century and things like this still exist. Slavery, we thought, had been abolished years ago, and people are being sold and raped and killed because they've left their country in hope for a better life. It's disgusting. So I hope you guys learn something from this and sign the petition or attend the march or donate some money. Just do something, even if it just means posting about it in social media to raise further awareness, so hopefully in the long run something can be done. Okay, so moving on to a bit of a better note, it's shout out time. Today I only have one shout out, and that is to Unknown Times Sprayz, everybody. I will leave the link to that in the description box below. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I think my next video will probably be a Q&A, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the description box below. I don't want to do serious video after serious video after serious video after serious video. I want to mix it up. At some point I'm going to do a makeup tutorial, I'm going to do a skincare tutorial, and I'm definitely going to do an eyebrow tutorial. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Like, comment, subscribe and share. Thank you.
Yeah, we're kinda important.